I love everybody in the community on YouTube. You guys are fantastic. Jabari, I love your comments, man. I was excited. He gave a comment. He asked this question. So from the comment section on YouTube, I got the question, do you think Frank Gore is one of the best running backs of all time? I thought it was a very interesting debate. I thought it was a fun topic to talk about. So I wanted to break it down. Is Frank Gore one of the best running backs of all time? Is he up there? Is he maybe a Hall of Famer? I want to dive into Frank Gore's stats. Let's talk about that. So by the way, Frank Gore just got signed by the Miami Dolphins, and he's not done. His career isn't over. He's still going to rack up a couple more yards, a couple more touchdowns maybe. Probably hurt his average yards per game, but that's just how it is. That's what happens when you play in your later years. So right now, Frank Gore has 14,026 yards rushing, 77 touchdowns, and he averages 4.3 yards per carry. Another interesting thought is his receiving yards. His receiving yards, he has 3,672, 443 catches, and 17 touchdowns receiving. I'm going to make stats interesting, I promise you. I know it's hard to listen to. I'm going to make you care about stats right now. So my immediate thought was, well, let's compare Frank Gore to Adrian Peterson. And right off the bat, Frank Gore blows Adrian Peterson out of the water despite playing for years on bad teams. Frank Gore has 14,000 yards rushing. Adrian Peterson only has 12. Now, Adrian Peterson does have more touchdowns, 99 to 77, and he does average 4.8 yards per carry. But Frank Gore is a far superior receiver to Adrian Peterson. AP only has 2,000 yards receiving, 5 touchdowns, and 252 catches receiving. The takeaway is, look, Frank Gore is a much better running back than Adrian Peterson was. Neither of them are done, but if we compare their stats right now, Frank Gore's got a way better career. Worse teams, more yards, a better receiver. Now, fewer touchdowns, but who cares? He has way more receiving touchdowns. Frank Gore's a better running back on paper than Adrian Peterson. Again, remember, neither of them are done playing, but I thought it was an interesting comparison. So let's compare them to people that are done playing and are Hall of Famers. This is really the test. Should Frank Gore be a Hall of Famer? I thought we should compare him to Emmitt Smith, Marcus Allen, Barry Sanders, and Eric Dickerson. Now, Emmitt Smith has 18,355 yards rushing. That's unbelievable. 164 touchdowns. So Emmitt Smith blows Frank Gore out of the water. Not even close. And Marcus Allen. Now, Marcus Allen is comparable. Marcus Allen has only 12,000 yards rushing. Now 123 touchdowns, which is far more than Frank Gore. And he has better numbers receiving. Marcus Allen has 587 catches, 5,411 yards, and 21 receiving touchdowns. So Marcus Allen and Emmitt Smith both have better stats objectively than Frank Gore. The only stat that Marcus Allen does not beat Frank Gore in is all-time rushing yards. Now, Barry Sanders has better stats than Frank Gore as well. 15,000 yards rushing, 5 yards per carry, 5.0, that's crazy. 99 touchdowns. A few less receiving numbers, but remember Barry Sanders, not Allen, Barry Sanders retired early. And then you come to Eric Dickerson. Now, Eric Dickerson is probably the closest comparison to Frank Gore. Although, remember, Eric Dickerson did play in a different era. So if you look at Frank Gore, 14,000 yards rushing. Eric Dickerson at 13, 259 yards rushing. 90 touchdowns to 77. And significantly less receiving numbers. Only 2,000 yards receiving, only 281 catches and 6 touchdowns. So where does Frank Gore rank against Hall of Famers? Well, 3 of the 4 I compared him to, Emmitt Smith, Marcus Allen, and Barry Sanders have far better numbers than Frank Gore. Now, Frank Gore is comparable to Eric Dickerson. What is the takeaway from all of this? As it stands, right now in the Hall of Fame discussion, I would say that there's an argument to be made that Frank Gore could be a Hall of Famer, but he's right on the bubble. He's not clearly a Hall of Famer. And if you're not clearly a Hall of Famer, I don't think you are a Hall of Famer. If it's not 100% you should be, then it's nah. Now, I think similar to Carson Palmer, I think Frank Gore is a bubble guy. He's not quite a Hall of Famer. Carson Palmer is a guy he's a great player, great stats, not a Hall of Famer, and that's exactly where I would put Frank Gore. You can tell the NFL story and completely leave Frank Gore out of it. You talk about back in the day. You talk about Marcus Allen. You talk about Emmitt Smith and his Super Bowls. You talk about Barry Sanders. He's a legend. Talk about Eric Dickerson and his success in LA. Frank Gore, it's easy to forget. That's not fair. I know that's not fair. Life isn't fair, though. And maybe it's my fault. Maybe I am just far too conservative when it comes to putting people in the Hall of Fame. I am aware that I'm stingy, man. If you're not 100% without a doubt a Hall of Famer, I'm not putting you in the Hall of Fame. Like, who just retired? What's that guy's name? Joe Thomas just retired. Without a doubt, Hall of Famer tomorrow. I don't feel the same way about Frank Gore. His stats, he's middle of the pack, bottom kind of bubble guy. Again, I think Frank Gore is close to the Hall of Fame. He's right in the same spot as Carson Palmer. You get honorable mention, you're on the bubble, but Frank Gore currently, as it stands, is not a Hall of Famer. Remember, he's got years left to prove himself, but right now, Frank Gore is not a Hall of Famer. Now, the fact that he's even in the discussion, that says it all. I mean, Frank Gore, utmost respect. I like Frank Gore. I think his numbers, he's better than Adrian Peterson, like by far, and he played on worse teams over the years. I mean, Frank Gore is just, I have the utmost respect. When I put out this video, it's going to say, Frank Gore is not a Hall of Famer, and the fact that we're even having that conversation is completely a testament to Frank Gore. He is up there with all-time running backs. He's not a Hall of Famer, but he's on the bubble. He's in the discussion. Utmost respect, man. Frank Gore, I didn't know how impressed I would be until I looked at his numbers. I was like, man, Frank Gore? Wow. I didn't realize. I just didn't. You forget him. You don't realize how good his numbers actually are. He's not a Hall of Famer, but he's a great running back, and he's pretty dang close. Thank you for watching. You can subscribe to Strong Opinion Sports on iTunes, on SoundCloud, on Google Play, and on YouTube. And if you really want to help me grow Strong Opinion Sports, share this with your friends. Tell your friends about Strong Opinion Sports on Facebook, on Twitter, maybe on Reddit, on Instagram. I don't care, but help me grow Strong Opinion Sports by telling your friends about this show. Thank you.